6 million Americans will visit an intensive care unit this year, and only 1 in 5 will not make it. Healthcare professionals are desperate for better real-time tools to help diagnose and treat their patients. My name's Emma Faust, and I'm the CEO of Medical Informatics Corp. At Medical Informatics, we provide better real-time tools to help doctors and nurses improve patient outcomes. In a critical environment, doctors have to ask this question every day. What is wrong with this patient? They use continuous monitoring devices and bedside monitors to help understand the minute-to-minute status of their patient. Doctors have to take this data coming from all these unconnected devices, aggregate it, and then interpret it in their heads. They're looking at the physiological data, such as EKG and blood pressure. They take this data, and what they're looking for in it is hidden information that helps them determine if their patient has a particular condition or not. But there's a problem. With a typical patient generating over 100 million data points per day, doctors are facing data overload. They have to deal with too much raw data and not enough coherent information. Our solution to the data overload problem is our software platform, SickBay. SickBay stores, collects, and processes all the real-time physiological data coming from every bedside monitor in a hospital. We take all that unconnected data, put it in one place, one format, and then deliver disease-specific metrics directly to the doctor in real time. We call this real-time clinical decision support. This means we can put critical patient monitoring data at a doctor's fingertips so they can make better, faster decisions. We deliver disease-specific information directly to the doctor through applications that run on top of the SickBay platform. Each application is specifically tailored to a disease and patient population. This means that the ER physician can monitor and use an app to look for sepsis, and a pulmonologist can use an app to look for ventilated-associated pneumonia. The SickBay platform is already developed and tested. From 2009 to 2011, we operated a beta test of the platform at the University of Virginia's Medical Center. In 2012, we signed our first customer, Texas Children's Hospital. And in 2013, we're looking forward to signing new customers and developing our products. Because we are a platform technology, this enables us to run a variety of different apps on top of our platform. The first application that we would like to focus on developing in 2013 is the alarm management app. And let me tell you why. In a 500-bed hospital, nursing staff have to address over 70,000 alarms per day. A typical way they'll receive a notification of an alarm is through a mobile device. The problem is that the nurse does not have any information as to which alarm she should go to first. When 90 to 99% of all alarms are nuisance alarms, she can't tell which of these is a critical event. In addition, hospitals pay over $100,000 per year for this inadequate solution. Medical Informatics has a better way. We propose to bring the monitor to the nurse instead of the nurse to the monitor. At the point of alarm notification, we can provide the context of that alarm, allowing her to make a decision within seconds as to whether this is a critical event or not. In addition, we can provide her tools to act upon that information in real time. She can either forward that information on to another professional, or she can call a code. By providing better real-time information to nurses, they can make faster responses to critical situations and improve patient outcomes. Let me introduce you to the Medical Informatics team that is going to bring this software to hospitals around the country. My name is Emma Faust, and I'm the CEO. I have a background and a PhD in electrical and computer engineering. I also have venture capital experience with DFJ Mercury. Chris Raff, our CFO. He has a background in risk assessment and has helped develop medical devices with NASA. Jess Fenlon, our VP of Marketing and Sales. She has direct experience selling software to hospitals. Craig Russin, our Chief Technology Officer. He has direct experience developing these decision support applications. Kurt Walker is our Chief Medical Officer. He has over 32 years experience as an ER physician and has worked in informatics. And finally, Ralph Krogh is our Chief Compliance Officer. He has over 30 years experience as a software project lead at both NASA and Lockheed Martin. We're also led by a strong board of advisors, which includes serial entrepreneurs that have worked in healthcare and technology ventures, venture capitalists, and experts that specialize in healthcare IT software companies. Next, Jess will talk about marketing. We have taken a top-down approach to sizing the big data and healthcare market. According to research firms Gartner, Forrester, and IDC, the big data and healthcare annual spend will reach $2.7 billion this year. This segment is projected to grow at a 14% compound annual growth rate over the next 5 years. With 1% market share in 2017, medical informatics will have more than $45 million worth of business. In the alarm management industry, we've taken a bottom-up approach. Our competitors price their alarm management applications at $2,000 per phone. When doctors and nurses are working in a hospital, they carry one phone and care for an average of 5 patient beds at a time. With 1 million hospital beds in the United States, this puts the alarm management industry at $400 million. We'll be taking a dual sales channel approach with our initial base of customers. We already have a strong sales pipeline with our initial customer at Texas Children's Hospital, as well as our management team's professional network. We'll be reaching out to large research hospitals, specifically selling to the ICU administrators, since these are the decision makers. When we sell to large research hospitals, we will gain industry credibility and be able to establish connections with researchers. In addition, when we sell to a large research hospital, we can use our initial installation as a demonstration platform to sell to other units within the hospital. We'll also be selling to the C-level executives at small specialty hospitals. We'll be reaching out directly to these executives for immediate sales revenue to our bottom line, since these are less bureaucratic organizations and can bring a faster sales cycle time. As we've mentioned, Texas Children's Hospital is already established as our first customer. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with Texas Children's, this is the largest children's hospital in the United States with more than 500 beds. They're also a renowned research institute known especially for neonatal care. Our initial installation is a research platform in the cardiovascular intensive care unit. We are capturing data from every patient monitoring device, putting it into the sickbay system, and using this for research and application development. We've also made headway in the small specialty market segment of hospitals. We have a signed letter of intent from Nexus, which is a 75-bed hospital just outside of Houston. They plan to buy the sickbay platform and the alarm management application as soon as they've cleared FDA approvals. Aaron, the CEO at Nexus, is desperate for a technology like this and is not satisfied with any other product on the market. When we sell to hospitals, large hospitals will see direct benefits through savings and revenue generation as hard ROI returns. In addition, the users of our application, the doctors and nurses, will see soft ROI benefits through labor and time savings. When we look at the big data and healthcare market, there are companies that are doing real-time processing and companies who are gathering data from patient monitoring devices. But none of these companies are doing anything with the data. Only medical informatics provides a solution to gather the information and make it available for real-time clinical decision support. In the alarm management industry, there are 2 competitors who offer texting and messaging capabilities. These companies do not provide the medical context along with alarm, therefore nurses do not know which alarm to attend to first. Only medical informatics will provide this information. We've also positioned ourselves with strong competitive barriers that cannot easily be copied by another company. We've already overcome a difficult technical barrier by completing development of the sickbay platform, which took several years. We will file a provisional patent next month, and we already have a robust app pipeline that is planned for development of the alarm management app, with 12 others soon to follow. And with our established customer at Texas Children's Hospital, we've gained industry credibility and have a referenceable customer that can be used as we sell to other institutions. And now our CFO, Chris, will tell you about the numbers.
As a software company, Medical Informatics will seek to generate ongoing, sustainable revenue through a software licensing model, and also earn immediate revenue through installation and consultation fees. Prices will be on a per-bed basis, and minimum fees per hospital will apply. By 2017, the sickbay platform will generate over $9 million in revenue, and total app revenue, including that of the alarm management app, will reach over $40 million. With no production or materials costs, expenses will largely be salaries and FDA-related expenses. This will allow Medical Informatics to drive over 80% operating margin. From a cash flow perspective, as cash flows turned positive in 2014 with only 3 customers, we passed the break-even point. And over the next 5 years, cash flow will continue to increase, which can be reinvested back into Medical Informatics to accelerate the development of apps. Because the sickbay platform and the alarm management app are just the beginning. With other apps already in mind, like the sleep apnea management app and a suite of other apps already in development, we can drive revenue to over $50 million by 2017. What this means is that apps will drive growth and incremental revenue. Looking forward, Medical Informatics will send the sickbay system through the necessary FDA compliances within the first 6 months. Within the first 18 months, we will develop the alarm management app and take it through the FDA compliances as well. To complete these milestones, we are asking for $1 million in seed funding. In the second half of this year, we will also seek to complete a Series A funding of an additional $4 million to accelerate the development of apps. To help us get through these FDA compliances, we have employed the services of Omentech, regulatory consultants with FDA expertise. They will help us do everything from filing the FDA paperwork to handling the FDA audits. Medical Informatics developed the sickbay platform in-house, so we own the IP outright and do not owe royalties to any institution. The sickbay code is copyrighted, and next month we file for a provisional patent.
As we look forward, there are several strong opportunities in exit available for companies who can use our data that we're gathering with the sickbay platform. Each of these industries would be able to use our data for further research and development, as well as patient management. We feel the strongest opportunity is within the patient data management sector. These are companies who are creating electronic medical records, or EMRs. The information that they're gathering is based on patient history, and they're creating a medical record. With the data from Medical Informatics, they can help create a more complete medical record. McKesson, in particular, has had 5 acquisitions in the last 7 years of complementary companies that help create a more complete medical record. We want to thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Medical Informatics is more than just an idea. This is a real company with established customers in a thriving market. We are ready for your investment and poised to grow. By investing in Medical Informatics, you can help save lives bit by bit. Thank you.
Judges, you have 15 minutes for Q&A.
So if I want to make sure I understood what you said. We're all humming now. I want to make sure I understood what you said. If I heard you correctly, you're going after 2 market segments with 2 products simultaneously, i.e. 2 products to 2 markets, or 4 market segments. And I'm trying to understand, does the alarm management system really require sickbay to exist? And if it doesn't, why aren't you just focusing on alarm management, which is a simpler, smaller product with probably a shorter sales cycle? And why in God's name are you going after small community hospitals rather than trying to get to reference accounts in large hospital systems quickly?
Jess, you want to take that with the
So,
market?
so for a couple pieces of it. First of all, the sickbay platform operates independently of the alarm management application. However, the alarm management application requires the sickbay platform. So in order to sell alarm management, we will need to also sell the sickbay platform first. Since it's developed already, and we don't have to put any additional technology investment into it, that's why we've chosen, in addition, the alarm management application for first development.
So what is the sales cycle? Because here's the problem. Yeah. Alarm management presumably has a single decision maker. It might be the person who's making the decisions for the ICU. As soon as you get to the broader system, the IT department of the hospital actually has a voice. And what do they typically say? I'm busy installing Cerner and Epic. I don't have time to think about anything right now. So how do you get over that?
Well, part of the reason is that we're targeting small specialty hospitals is just because of that. At a large hospital, the sales cycle time is probably going to be about 12 months. And so at the small specialty hospitals, we've made immediate headway with Nexus, who's basically ready to sign as soon as we have FDA approvals. And so the small specialty hospitals provide us immediate revenue, and we'll continue to sell throughout the hospital, making the necessary connections. At Texas Children's, there were a lot of connections in a lot of different departments and a lot of bureaucracy, and that's, again, why we're targeting the small.
What's the sales cycle?
12 months.
Sales cycle is 4 months?
12.
12 months. Mm-hmm. So how many people is it going to take you to penetrate the 7,000 hospitals in America if you have a sales cycle of 12 months?
That's why we're targeting the small hospitals, so that we can get into networks of smaller institutions that desperately need the alarm management app right away, because that affects their clinical service lines. And to your point about the big hospitals, we can sell to one ICU. We don't have to sell an enterprise system to the entire hospital. We can install it on existing hardware that an ICU might have control over, or we can install it on new servers.
A lot of the small community hospitals.
Yeah, I just want to ask, I was a little confused about, you're saying that you already have a customer and you're ongoing, but that you were going for FDA approval later this year. So can you explain your order of operations in terms of getting FDA approval and selling to customers? And then the second part of the question I have is, what requirements do you have to show to the FDA to get approval?
Okay, let's go to the FDA.
So the first part of the question about selling to hospitals, it's a research installation at Texas Children's, so it did not require FDA approvals on the research side. To move to the clinical side, which is the next step, we will require FDA approvals.
Yeah. And that can be broken down into 2 parts. The platform is going to be registered as a Class 1 device under the new DDS regulation. Any application that actually impacts clinical care will have to be taken through the 510K approval process. There's also, of course, you have to register as a medical manufacturing device company and
So
things like
just
that.
as a quick follow-up to your comment about the apps, do your apps actually provide an answer to a physician? I mean, are you actually diagnosing the situation, or is the physician still diagnosing the situation?
It's about providing support, answering. Do you want to pull up the backup slide on the type of data that we're talking about? Like the cerebrovascular autoregulation one? So this is our technical slide. This is not in our standard deck, but I wanted to convey that the type of information that we're looking at in the clinical apps is things that doctors cannot calculate in real time. So if we look at a case for cerebrovascular autoregulation, if a doctor is working with a brain trauma patient and needs to know what blood pressure to set that patient at, they would have to take 10 minutes of continuous waveform data of 2 different data streams, ICP and AVP. They would have to put it through a bandpass Fourier transform, and they'd have to do a cross-correlation function on it, and then do an inverse Fourier transform. So this is the type of mathematical procedure that some of these clinical decision supports apps need. and doctors know about. I mean, some of these things like this has been published for years, but people have not been able to access the real-time data to instantiate these type of algorithms and applications that then can provide an answer to the physician. So in real time, he can make better decisions.
So help me understand your revenue model a little bit more. Is it a recurring revenue model? Do you earn, is it a license one-time install and you get paid and then you get like 10% license maintenance fees or something like that per year after, so I'm a little, you said on the competitors they charge $2,000 per phone, but I wasn't sure, is that one time, and how would that compare to your revenue model?
Okay, so we do charge an installation and consultation fee that will provide, will help the hospital understand what hardware they need to buy and how to install it. And then that is a one-time fee. Then we will have an additional annual fee that will be recurring and over time. And it'll be about 20% for the installation and consultation fee of the actual annual fee for the sick bay. And then for each app, our first apps like alarm management will be annual fees as well.
So if I wanted to do alarm management, I'm talking about $800 per year per bed. What proof points do you have that other than, and by the way, are you selling it at that price to Texas Children's?
No, we have another arrangement with them.
What proof points do you have that the majority of hospitals are prepared to pay that price per bed for an IT overlay when they're already spending tons of money on other IT problems that they're dealing with? Given that most of the hospitals, whether they be large or small, are owned by for-profit systems, and if they were before, they're very soon going to be owned by a for-profit system, where do you have the proof that $800 per bed per year is absorbable by the market?
Well, when we look at our competitors in the alarm management space and what they're charging, and there is a component that is annual, and there's a component that's an install fee up front. Hospitals are willing to pay for that $100,000 per year install cost for an alarm management system that they don't really want because it doesn't solve all their problems, or even come close to solving the problems that they feel they have.
But $800 for a 1,000-bed hospital isn't a $100,000 installation. That's an $800,000 installation.
Yes.
If I was installing it for every bed. So if I'm, and I don't know if you're trying to sell it just to the ICU, but even there, how do I have the proof that that's a price point, that's a dollar amount, that more than one example is prepared to pay?
Well, we expect for our initial installs with Texas Children's Hospital to allow us to prove out those exact points that you're referring to.
In addition, at the small specialty hospital, we have shared with them the pricing numbers, and they have signed the letter of intent. So even from a small hospital that doesn't have the resources of a large research, they have been very accepting of these price points. So it seems that the need fits the price.
So, so you're very front-loaded. So in order to keep your revenue growth up, you have to continue making lots of sales. So you don't get, you don't have a lot of same-store sales unless you go back and develop another app and sell that app to that hospital. Is that correct? No,
there is an annual license fee.
Which is
with
10 to 20% of what the upfront license fee is. Am I understanding that right?
No.
Okay.
There is out of the license fee that we've presented here for sort of ease of use, we say that 20% of that is a service component, and the rest of that, 80%, is an annual fee. So that entire amount is an annual fee.
All right, I misunderstood that. Thank you.
Just a couple of questions on just the big picture, just to clarify what I think you're offering. So you have a platform. This is my license. I buy it for a hospital. And then I can buy however many different incremental apps that I need, right? And are you relying on your team to create those apps? Are you going to curate them as ideas come in? How are you going to do that and not get all the FDA clearances so that you don't have, for example, a computational error in the calculus you just showed us? And then a follow-on would be sort of, do you then take all this data and are you going to use that data and sell that data because you've now created big data? What are you thinking? That's not clear yet.
Well, what we've found is that there are a lot of other smaller companies out here that do not have access to this data. They're trying to develop algorithms, and if they had access to this data, they could push out apps. So we very much see ourselves as a foundation where we can have an API where other researchers, other companies can build an app for our platform so that it can be sold and distributed through our network of installs. We do plan to actually develop apps with our partner institutions as well, but we do not view ourselves as the only people creating apps. And in terms of opportunities with the data, there are plenty of other market opportunities that can come with reporting and data sharing.
So normally to make a sale to a hospital, you actually have to prove ROI. Do you have any of that data? And is any of it published and peer reviewed? Because typically, not only do you have to show it, but somebody has to believe that it's for real.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why we're working closely with Texas Children's Hospital to, again, get those numbers. We're just not there yet.
So Texas Children's will give you one case of ROI data that you then hope to be able to package into marketing materials that you can use to try and persuade
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And when will you have that data from Texas Children's?
I'm sorry?
When will you have the data from Texas Children's?
Well, we've already been collecting data since last fall.
And do you have a primary investigator who's doing it in a fashion that'll allow peer-reviewed article?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we do. IRB approvals and everything.
I just want to kind of get an overview of what you think maybe your top couple of business risks are. I mean, what keeps you up at night? What do you think is going to potentially take you down?
Go for it, Chris.
Well, of course, the first is regulatory, getting through the FDA. The earliest you can get an FDA-approved device is 90 days. That's the minimum, but that rarely happens, which is why we've employed a medtech, because they've been able to prove to us that they can get our system through the FDA in less than a year. And I guess sales cycle is also a long pole, which is why we've taken the dual channels approach. We really want to get into these small hospitals, get quick revenue, show people that our business model works.
Technology.
Okay, so just to clarify, again, so you're going to go and seek apps, or do you think people are going to come and find you because you have the platform?
Both.
I mean, you know, you're in a different world. I want to say you're a reseller or a repackager of apps to sell to hospitals, right? Because you got the platform on which they can work.
We have the platform. We also have apps that we are developing with our partner institutions. So we're talking with customers on a day-to-day basis. Physicians often come to us with solutions, and they're like, I've known this for 10 years. I've never had access to this data. Can you look into it for me? And that becomes the seed for an app concept.
So if I can have...
Is it all mobile-based? In other words, handheld or iPad? Or?
Yes.
Yes, and there will be web applications, and we have 13 apps specifically in our pipeline right now. After the first 13, we'll be looking for partners to continue to develop with.
Let me ask you a question on a different topic. How many companies were funded by venture capitalists last year with a $5 million pre-money before they were through the FDA? How many healthcare IT companies last year got that valuation at that stage of development?
We don't have that data, but the $5 million pre-money is assuming that we've already raised the seed funding.
But your seed funding is a bridge to 3 months later being out of cash.
Actually, we've moved the timeline back.
Right.
From the business.
How far?
Just the end of the year.
So the $1 million is buying an opportunity to be out of cash and not have an FDA approval necessarily in hand. So again, how many companies do you know of that got venture financing at a north of a $4 million valuation before they were through the FDA last year?
What I've seen in the data analytics space in healthcare is there's a handful of companies that basically have gotten seed funding, they get through milestones, and then they go for a $5 million round. Like maybe 12 to, I guess, 1 to 2 years later.
So Airstrip, which is backed by Sequoia,
Yes.
what keeps them from crushing you while you're waiting to get your venture financing?
They don't have any pipeline to basically create apps. They are basically a data visualization company.
Okay, thank you very much.